After the boss received the information and data from the 10 secretaries, he went through it to see how things had run while he was gone. And as he was going through it, he noticed that there was a discrepancy in a certain supply manager's department. He called the secretary who was in charge of that division and asked her about it. And she said that she had a hard time the entire time the boss was away of getting any information from that department, and that that was the best she had, was what he had before him. The boss then called the supply manager in and sat him down, and he says, "Now, here's the situation. From the information I have got, you have been embezzling from my company. Now, you have been a good employee for over 10 years, so I'm going to give you an opportunity. You have 2 days to get these accounts straightened out, or you're going to go to jail for embezzlement." As the supply manager left the boss's office, he was wondering what he would do. He knew he was too old to go out and do any manual labor, and he definitely liked his lifestyle too much to go work at a fast food restaurant, and he definitely, it was beyond his comprehension to go to a soup kitchen where he had sent some other employees. So he was baffled by what to do. But then it dawned on him. As he left the main building where the boss's office was, he pulled out his cell phone and he called the company that he knew owed the most to his present company. Getting the owner on the phone, he told the owner that he was leaving his present position at this company and going to be taking a short vacation. But before he left, he wanted to make sure that his books were all cleared out and that he had nothing to worry about when he left his company. So he asked the owner, how much did the owner owe to his company? Well, after a short bit, the owner came back and said that his company owed the company for 100,000 case units of merchandise. Well, the supply manager thought about it a bit, and then he said, "Well, since I am leaving, I want to make sure my books are cleared, and I do have the authority to do this, so if you will pay for 50,000 of those units and do it within 24 hours, wiring the money to the company, you can have the other 50,000 units as a bonus. How's that sound to you?" Well, of course, that would be an excellent deal for any company, so it was readily agreed. Then, as the supply manager finished up that call, he happened to mention the fact to this owner that to remind him that he would be looking for another position when he came back from vacation. And then he finished the call. Then he made a second call to the next person that he could think of that was a major debtor to his company. He called up, got a hold of the owner, and told the owner basically the same thing, that he was leaving his present position and going to take a small vacation, but that he wanted to clear his books before he left. And he wanted to know from the owner of that company how much he actually owed his company. Well, the owner of that company looked through the books, of course, and came back and said, "Well, we owe you for 80,000 case units of your best stuff." The manager got back with him and he says, "I'll tell you what I can do. Since I have the authority to do this and I want to get this off my books, if you go ahead and pay me for 60,000 case units, you can have 20,000 as a bonus, provided you wire the money into my company within 24 hours. How's that sound to you? Well, of course, that was most agreeable to the owner. And then he proceeded to do that all day long, making sure that he got to every single company that he had dealt with that owed his company. And as he finished every conversation, he reminded them that after his vacation, he would be looking for a position somewhere else. On the second day, the supply manager brought the reports into the boss. The boss looked them over and could see that there was a nice inflow of cash that came in, but he also noticed that the discounts that were there. Then he looked up at the manager and he says, "I can see from what you've done that you've done most wisely, and that, knowing you, you've set yourself up so that you can find another position quickly. Now, I wish that I could teach my younger managers how to do this and see the possibilities in problems and find the solutions. That is quite wise. But as far as you're concerned, get out of my sight." And thus it was so.